Are we live? Almost.
There we go.
And we're live. Hello, Degens. Welcome to Degenerate Takes. I, of course, am the brofict one, AJ. And joining me, as always, is the man with the numbers, the sportsbook whisperer, the college basketball guru, daddy of the diamond, Mr. Noah Engelbretton. Noah, how the hell are you doing today on this Thursday, July 7th, 2022?
Hey, Jay, I'm fantastic. Off to a hot start today with my baseball slate. Got to watch a little bit of the Scottish Open earlier and all the shenanigans with the wind coming in later on in the day. Yeah, I'm great. How are you?
Noah, I could not complain if I tried. Honest to God, I have slammed about mojitos at the bar. I'm on a ship somewhere. And we're just having a good time, bro. We're having a good time. Hit a couple. I took the 2.5 on the Astros today, thanks to following at Engel Money Train and getting that juice on there. Thank you for that money. And then I also took some pitcher over on strikeouts, and that hit. Took another pitcher over on strikeouts, that hit. And so, Noah, you know what? We're having just one of those degen days, bro, where you just got to sit back, throw a couple cold ones down, and just let the money roll, bro,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let it roll. Let it roll.
Let it roll, baby.
You know what we call that? Passive income.
Passive income. If you really want passive income, you should be following the show. Making money from your couch, right, Noah?
Yes, sir. Hey, I don't force your hand to do anything, but if you want my picks every day, I got them. They're out there. They've been doing pretty well. So, not gambling advice or anything like that, not life advice, but if your choice, choose to tail me, fade me, do whatever you want. But the picks are out there every day.
Every single day. And honestly, it's a good read. It's a good follow because no one knows what he's talking about. I don't have all of those nicknames for him about sports betting for no reason. Okay. I've been gambling with this guy. He introduced me to sports gambling and I've been following him ever since. I've learned my own. I'm making my own picks. I'm getting better, but he truly is the guru of all of it. Noah, shout out to you and making us a shit ton of money. We love to see it, but let's talk about a shit ton of money because there's a quarterback in the NFL that just got traded that is not getting a shit ton of money, actually took a pay cut to get traded, and can't blame him for getting a pay cut for getting traded because he was essentially just like kicked in the shitter from this squad. I'm of course talking about Baker Mayfield now being a quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Contract total worth $15 million. It was due 18 this year. 3 of it was he took a $3 million pay cut. The Brownies somehow are still browning it up and paying $10 million of it. Panthers only paying $5 million of it. Obviously, they did put in options so that he could recoup that extra $3 million if he does, incentivize and everything like that. But Noah, honestly, I mean, this was a trade we saw coming. I mean, not maybe to the Panthers, but we saw Baker moving. He couldn't stay there in that climate anymore, especially with Deshaun Watson coming in there. And honestly, it really felt like towards the end of that, once they made the offer to Deshaun Watson the first time and he said no, it seemed like ties were already cut with the Browns. I mean, why did this take so long? And how are we just now finding out that Baker is getting traded, and do you think this is going to be a good fit overall?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Baker, if he stayed with the Browns, he was due $18.9 million this year. The Panthers in this trade are paying him $5.5 million. The Browns are absorbing 10.5 of his contract, so he'll be making 16 out of that 18.9. So not a huge hit, for Baker. Obviously, 2.9 million is not chump change, but percentage wise, he's still getting a good chunk of that money. He gets his wish, goes out. I think it was foolish on the Browns' part. Like, I think they really fumbled the bag here, as they've done time and time again and continue to do. They should have kept that relationship all right with Baker, knowing that these lawsuits were looming over Deshaun Watson's head. Like, it's fine to bring Deshaun in and pay him all the money they did. He's such a great talent. But with this looming over his head, you'd have to know you need kind of a reliable backup there.
Someone who knows
And
the system, someone who's already been there, knows the guys.
And instead, they completely shut Baker out, got him all pissed off, completely ruptured that relationship. So he couldn't stay. He couldn't stay at the end of the day. And, they could have cut him. They would have had to pay probably the same $10.5 million that they're paying anyways, whether they cut him or trade him. He was either going to go to Seattle or Carolina. Those were the only two teams kind of looking who had any interest. And, the Browns got something out of it. So if you're looking at it strictly from a standpoint of like what they could have done given the situation that they put themselves in, and let's not forget they put themselves in the situation in the first place. But once they were already in this situation, you'd rather at least get something back. That's a conditional 4th round pick. So basically a bag of potato chips. We'll see in 5 years what that conditional 4th rounder turns into, if they're able to strike gold or not. Probably not. It's the Browns. Good move by the Panthers. Obviously, Sam Darnold's not getting the job done. I've been pretty vocal about kind of my dislike, my hate towards Baker. But he's a much better option than Sam Darnold. I will admit that. I've been even more vocal about how much I hate Sam Darnold and how much he sucks and he does not belong in this league. Sam Darnold, he should go to the USFL or the XFL, but That's my opinion on that. I think there's a solid handful of backups in this league that are better than Sam Darnold. Now, tough spot for Robbie Anderson, who reportedly was very vocal about not wanting Baker Mayfield as his quarterback, but I don't think he wanted Sam Darnold as his quarterback either. If I'm Robbie Anderson,
wants to be in Carolina.
The problem is he's not quite good enough, Robbie Anderson, to demand like he can't really. He could demand a trade. He's a good receiver. He's just not that good. Like he's not good enough to be like. He doesn't hold enough of the cards to be like forcing his way out. I think. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, maybe the Panthers win like 7 or 8 games instead of 5 or 6 with Baker versus Darnold. I don't think it's a huge difference. I think they win 1 or 2 more games with Baker, and they're still going to be below 500. They're still not a good team. Christian McCaffrey can't stay healthy.
That's my thing.
I don't think it really matters, but I do think it's a good move by the Panthers because they didn't really hardly give anything up. They're only paying him $5.5 million. He's got like 1 year left on his contract. If they want to kick him to the curb after this season, they totally can let him go into free agency. If they want to keep him, they can sign him to a contract. It's whatever. And they didn't really hardly give anything up.
Listen, here's what the Panthers did. The Panthers walked into Goodwill, which is the Browns, and found a Louis Vuitton bag amongst the shit. Okay. And it's a legit Louis Vuitton bag, and they took it. They paid $5 for it. They walked out of there, and I'm telling you, the Panthers are walking out with an absolute steal here, brother. I mean, Baker is just such an upgrade from Sam Darnold. I'm on that Sam Darnold train now. I was trying to defend the guy last season. I'm done with it, okay? I looked at his stats and everything.
He sucks. He sucks.
He sucks. His QBR was 33.2 last season. I mean, the guy is just terrible. But regardless of that, the Panthers upgraded significantly. I do not think that it will help them win any more games, though, because they don't have an offense. That offense is solely reliant on Christian McCaffrey, who you pointed out cannot stay healthy. He got injured in week 12 last year. He got injured earlier the season before that. And I'm going to beg fantasy owners, I'm going to beg fantasy players one time, please do not continue the vicious cycle of drafting Christian McCaffrey
or Saquon
overall, or
for
Saquon
that matter,
Barkley first overall,
or in the first round at all. Just stay off of them. Take a running back who maybe doesn't have quite as much flash, but's going to stay healthy if you're playing fantasy football. That's my advice. Don't take guys who have had rocky injury histories.
Oh, and then let's talk about how unproductive McCaffrey was last season when he was healthy through those 12 weeks. 99 attempts, 442 yards, 1 touchdown, averaging 4.5 yards a carry bro, that is not a good running back. That is not a sustainable every down back. That's what he wants to be.
Well, look at who their quarterbacks were.
He has those explosions. No, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But Baker will be able to go in there and at least make some of those throws that Darnold can't. He'll be able to make those easy throws and not put it into picks. Yes, they were tied last season, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield in picks, tied for 19th with 13 picks each. But it doesn't matter.
Darnold played
is a better quarterback.
Well, Darnold also played less games and had the same amount of picks.
True, so that's even fucking worse.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm like I said, I'm not defending Darnold. I think it's a good move by the Panthers. I don't think it's a huge upgrade, but it is an upgrade, and they're not giving up much for it. So I think it's a wise move that the Panthers did this, given that there's no other better quarterbacks out there on the market. There's nothing that like. The problem is San Francisco. Who the hell knows what they're doing? They seem to think Jimmy G's worth like, this huge haul. Yet they don't even want to start him. So. I don't understand what's going on in San Francisco. They're like, we have this great quarterback who's got this playoff experience and knows how to win, but we don't really plan on starting him unless Trey Lance, flops. And I think that's why they're going to hold on to Jimmy G, is because I think San Francisco is scared. I think they're scared. Yes. And I think they have a little bit of inclination that Trey Lance is not going to be the guy. He's not going to work out. And they need to keep Jimmy G, because when Trey Lance doesn't work out and they get off to like a 1-4 start or a 2-3 start, Jimmy G is going to take over he's going to take back the starting job partway through the year. I don't know if that's going to be 5 games. That's going to be 8 games, 10 games, but mark my words, Jimmy G will take the starting job back from Trey Lance at some point during the season. And I think San Francisco knows that, and that's why they're not moving Jimmy G. They keep saying like, "Oh, we're Trey Lance is our guy for the future," but it's like, why would you keep Jimmy G in his $20 million contract on your roster if you're not scared that Trey Lance isn't going to work out? And they won't say that, but that just screams to me that San Francisco is worried that Trey Lance is not going to work out.
And let's be real, the only reason the Deebo Samuel's deal isn't done yet is because Jimmy G isn't gone yet. Because they don't have the cap space to have both Jimmy G and Deebo Samuels making that kind of money. And so if Jimmy G's gone, Deebo Samuels gets paid, but I think they're going to let Deebo Samuels walk before they get rid of Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Deebo has another year, right?
Deebo's going to be gone. He's not, whether or not they oblige him and trade him, whatever. But once his contract, he's not signing an extension. He's not staying in San Francisco. He's all fed up with the organization. He's leaving.
I can't blame him. Come down to Arizona, bud.
He's leaving as soon as he can. Like,
come down to Arizona.
And I don't blame him. He's coming at him and he's like, pay me all this money because you're making me play 2 fucking positions. And they're like, no, that's okay. And then he's like, oh, I want to be traded. And they're like, no, not really.
Hey, you want to be traded? Why? Like, fuck off. Come on. It's terrible. But, honestly, he could go to the Bears. The Bears did just have a wide receiver who was pulled over and I believe arrested for, gun charges or something like that. So it's just the Bears being the Bears. Bears are going probably 0-17 this year, 0-18, however.
I was going to say,
there are this year.
I don't think any player wants to go to the Bears.
I don't want to go to the Bears. if fucking this new guy called me up and was like, hey, we need you to come play quarterback, I'd say thanks, no thanks, have a good one. Simple as that. I'll be third string, so I can just sit there and collect a check and chill out with the practice squad. But I'm joking, it's not that easy of a job, but you know what I'm not. You catch my drift. But Noah, we hate the NBA on this show, but it's hard not to talk about it because there's so much drama going on all the time. And we got to talk Summer League, bro. We got to talk Summer League right now because obviously the story coming out of Summer League is Chet Holmgren. Guy was a stud in college. He, drafted by the Oklahoma City Thunder, I believe a little bit higher than he should have been. But coming out in his first game, setting a Summer League record for 6 blocks, and then coming out the next game and honestly just playing like dog shit and just getting owned underneath the rim by Kenneth Lofton Jr. He just bodied him, bro. I mean, the entire game, you can see him just pushing him
Yeah,
under and
Chet
just
still
getting
had a
up there.
Chet still had a good game though.
He had a good game. He had 2 blocks, 11 points, and he was 1 in 6 from the 3 points. I don't find that to be a Chet good game. You know what I mean?
Well, he had double-digit rebounds. He still had double-double, but it's also summer league. Like, here's my whole thing is people way fucking overreact about summer league. It's goddamn summer league. It's rookies, second-year players, and like deep bench players. Like, I don't think it's a storyline that these guys who are drafted super high overall are having good games every single time. They're fucking supposed to. It would be a storyline and concerning if they are not having good games. Like if they're not putting up good stat lines in summer league, then it's like, we might have a fucking problem here. No, they should be going off for 20, 25 points and double doubles every single game. They're way better than the people they're playing. Like if you're the most talented person on the court, like it's the equivalent of like a regular season NBA game with like LeBron or KD or Giannis. Like they should put up big stat lines. Like if you're the best player on the fucking court, you should put up a big stat line. Like it's so stupid. People are like making a mountain out of a molehill with all this shit. And it's like, it's summer league. And my favorite was, I should have saved it. Somebody went and it was like in the replies of like Chet Holmgren after his first summer league game, tweeting out the laughing, crying emoji. And then somebody in the comments went on this big thread about all these guys over the like years who have had really good summer leagues and then been absolute busts in the NBA. And it happens a lot. It's fucking summer league. Stop freaking out about summer league, people. It's goddamn summer league. The only thing that should make news is if one of these players that's drafted really high overall, if a lottery pick is having a bad summer league, if they're struggling, then that's newsworthy. Because if you're struggling against lesser competition, you're going to have a hell of a hard time in the NBA. Like, yeah, you know, guys like Chet and all these other people, they should be having really fucking good games. Like,
They should be. I mean, and you're completely right. No, they're playing, not to disrespect any of these athletes because I can't do the shit they do, but they are playing below their stature and where they should be playing. And so, yes, you're completely right. They should be putting up these big numbers. But Noah, it's so much fun to watch these guys on these national broadcasts and everything go on about how great he is and how he's going to be the next guy and everything. And then he goes up and just gets bodied, and all of his flaws were just kind of shown that night. He's not big enough to be a traditional NBA big man. He has an incredible shot. Honestly, it sucks that he's so tall. If he wasn't so tall and he was a little bit shorter, people would be comparing him to the next KD, guy who can dish the ball out, shoot the three, and make points. However, because he is 7+ feet tall, they're going to have to compare him to big men. He's not going to be a Shaq. He's not going to be a Giannis. He's not going to be a Joel Embiid. He's kind of in this place where he's got to create his own position. I'm interested to see.
That doesn't matter. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have shit on Chet at times, but I'm gonna have his back on this one. Like, yeah, he's twig fucking thin, but that's, compared to like other things in other people's game that are lacking, that's a lot easier to fix.
Can be, can't be.
Over time, it's not an overnight fix, but like you can pack on.
Been in the league for how long? And he still looks exactly the same as when he came in. And I would say he's undersized as a big man.
DA had like 2% body fat coming out of college.
And Chet does too.
But DA had muscles. Chet has no muscles.
You're right.
But he's got fucking handles. He's got fucking handles.
35 pounds of muscle, and then he's suddenly going to be able to take a charge from Joel Embiid and not get broken in half.
Not in a fucking year. I'm talking over the course of like 2, 3, maybe even 4 years. He can gradually put on that weight, get bigger. It's happened. People can do it. It's a lot easier than trying to develop a shot for somebody who can't shoot or trying to develop handles. Like, putting on weight is an easier problem to address than a lot of other areas of your game that you can be lacking. Am I wrong or right? No, am I right or wrong with that?
If he eats like Zion, yeah, he's going to not have an issue, but I don't see his metabolism not working as fast.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm just saying it's easier to put on muscle and weight than it is to develop a jump shot when you have no shot, or to develop handles. Like, it's quicker. It's a quicker process. I'm not saying you can't develop other parts of your game as well, but putting on weight is quicker. He will do it, especially when he's got, NBA,
Yes.
training staff, dietitians,
Staff,
all that. Yeah, they're going to have him, they're going to be force feeding him calories and having him in the gym for 4 or 5 hours a day. And his raw talent is just so good that I think he's going to struggle in his first year or two in the NBA.
Does OKC start him off the bench, or do they put him in?
No, they don't have anybody better. Like, he's their best option at the 4. I think they play him at the 4. I don't think they play him at center. But
if you play him I'm fine with playing him at the 4. They play him at the 4. I think all of these worries go away.
Oh, and he should play the 4 in the NBA. He should be a 7-foot stretch 4. That's where he's going to succeed the best.
Yes.
Like I said, my thing with Chet, I think he's going to be really good. I don't think he's going to be instantaneously good. I think he's going to take 2 or 3 years. His first 2 to 3 years in the league, I think he's going to struggle a little bit. He's not going to be like this crazy good player. All of a sudden, he's going to have his ups and downs. But I think by year 4, maybe even year 3 is when he's really going to start blossoming.
I'm going to push back a little bit. I agree with you. It's going to take him a couple years to like fully get into the NBA body and everything that is the NBA. However, I think this year, if Oklahoma City starts him at the 4, he wins Rookie of the Year. And then in 2 to 3 years, we see him as a big man 5, if he can develop those muscles and everything. Well,
yeah, and it depends on what kind of scheme and everything that Oklahoma City's trying to run. You mentioned Rookie of the Year. I do want to bring up the fact that this year is different than a lot of the previous years.
Oh, and why is that?
Man, there's a good 10 to 15 players. And just like the draft was, now granted, you kind of had your top 3 guys, and then you knew they were going to go top 3, and then other guys are going to fall wherever. But I think there's a good 10 to 15 guys that could possibly win Rookie of the Year. It's not a 2 or a 3-man race, or like not one person's a clear favorite. I think any of a good like 10 to 15 could potentially win Rookie of the Year. I think it's going to be wide open. A lot of it's going to come down to who gets the most minutes playing time. A key matchup that Summer League tonight that I'm going to be keeping my eye on is with the Rockets and the Orlando Magic. We're going to have Paolo Banchero and Jabari Smith going up against each other. Obviously, they both are 6'10". They both play the 4. That's going to be a fun one to see who outplays who. First Summer League game for both of those two, and they're going up against each other. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't believe Auburn and Duke played each other last season. I don't think Jabari Smith and Paolo Banchero have ever had a chance to play against each other. I am about as excited as I can be for any Summer League game for tonight, for that Rockets and Orlando Magic game. I think it's going to be really fun to watch the duel between Jabari Smith and Paolo Banchero.
Hey, it'll be a fun one to watch. I know I'm tuning in now because, yeah, you're right. We didn't see those two match up during the
number 1 and number 3 pick.
So that'll be fun. That'll be fun as hell. I'm definitely to crack open at least 3 more for that one. But Noah, let me talk about something that I will pop a bottle or 7 of champagne for if this does happen. And we ought to talk about it because it's kind of like talking about the Cowboys now, especially me being in Arizona and everything, you being a Suns fan. Kevin Durant, no deal's done yet. We're still kind of waiting. Like, do you think, and it comes down essentially to capital. And I do believe the Suns have the most capital and like trade capital to give when it comes to draft picks, when it comes to bench players or star players. There are a couple people on the, starting 5 that we could get rid of, DeAndre Ayton being one of them, excluding Chris Paul and Devin Booker. However, will it be enough to get KD to like what a Mikal Bridges, a Cameron Johnson, JaVale McGee, even if we needed to, would that even be enough in order to get KD here? Because
JaVale's gone.
You think JaVale's gone?
Oh, he was a free agent.
Oh, you're fucking right. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so
Been a long day.
he's not here. But yeah, sorry to cut you off there, AJ, but I did see a report came out today. Before the Timberwolves, I'm assuming this was before they made the Rudy Gobert trade because
that reset everything.
Well, a report came out today. You want to know what the Brooklyn Nets asked the Timberwolves for KD?
They didn't ask for Ja, did they?
Ja's on the Grizzlies, not the Timberwolves.
Fuck. Who the fuck did they ask for?
They asked for Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, and 4 draft picks. It doesn't specify whether they were first or second round picks, but they asked for the 2 best players on Timberwolves, 2 all-star caliber players, and Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, and 4 picks. And that the Timberwolves didn't want to give quite that much. Well, I think the Timberwolves didn't want to part ways with Cat or Anthony Edwards. That's kind of the center of the team. But then the Timberwolves went and gave, 4 first-round picks and like 4 or 5 role players to Utah for Rudy Gobert, who's not Kevin Durant. But they didn't have to give up Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. Yeah. Obviously, those are the 2 main pillars of that team. Like if the Timberwolves make that trade, Timberwolves have nothing. You got KD and a bunch of scrubs. So I understand why that deal didn't work out, but every team, I think that just goes to show that literally every team is every team is exploring the options of how much they have to give up for KD. Brooklyn's
can't blame them.
Brooklyn's front office their phones have probably been blowing the fuck up it's been over a week now.
Yeah.
Which is crazy for this caliber. And I'm not surprised. I think it's going to drag on another week, maybe a week and a half, maybe even into the start of training camp, because this is the magnitude that Brooklyn is looking for and asking for. Like I said, I still think the Suns will end up with KD. I think it's going to cost them 5 first-round picks. And here's the problem, because they're asking for players and picks. They're asking for like all-star caliber players packaged with picks. I mean, if the Suns want to get this done, because they're not giving up Booker, they're not getting rid of Chris Paul, I think everybody else is fair game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
And Bridges is, the 3rd best player on the Suns, so he's going to be gone. Cam Johnson probably gone. Maybe Campaign as well. And DeAndre Ayton. I don't know. I could see like a 4-player and 4 for like those 4 players and 4 first-round picks, or maybe you take Campaign out of the mix. You go Cam Johnson, Ayton, Bridges, and 5 first-round picks. Yeah, it's going to have to be a hefty fucking haul. But as I have said, it doesn't fucking matter whoever else is on the team. You have Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and KD. So long as they all stay healthy, and that's a big if, so long as they all stay healthy, that team is winning like 2 or 3 in a row. That like nobody's going to be able to beat that big 3. It doesn't matter who the role players are on the team. Like just put some 7-footer who's whatever at center. And I mean, you let Booker, Chris Paul, Booker and KD with Chris Paul facilitating the whole show. That is multiple championships. And if you're the Suns, you have to sell your fucking future to do that. That's fine. Even if you win 1, it's worth it. It's the only way you get in trouble is if you can't get 1, but you get at least 1. That deal is worth it. You can give away 5 first-round picks and your future to win 1 championship, and the fans will not be mad about it. Especially Arizona fans. They you can sell away 2 decades of the future and it won't matter so long as you get 1 championship. 2 is even better. 3 would be magnificent. Nobody will care what happens with the rest of the history of the franchise.
Noah, as an Arizona fan, I want to say the only reason anyone still goes to a D-backs game is because we won that World Series in 2001. So yes, a title of any kind in any caliber in any of the major sports would be incredible, Noah. And yes, I am all for selling the soul of the squad in order to get that, in order to bring KD into what would be, and you're correct, it would be the best big three we have ever seen, probably.
Maybe the best in the NBA history.
Exactly. I would argue it over the LeBron, Bosh, and Wade. I would definitely argue it over KD, Harden, and fucking Kyrie. I mean, but
and Westbrook, not Kyrie, but they were young. But yeah, I mean, even when you compare it, oh yeah, go for it.
But my thing is, with how much the Nets are asking for, I think the Nets know that there is no shot there is any team that will take any trade of that caliber. Because yes, Noah, I agree with you. The Suns would have, any GM would probably have no issue selling their soul for a talent. But Noah, we get rid of 4 players. I mean, we still got to fill those slots. And so what? We're just going to have absolute trash and make KD, Booker, and CP3 run the floor for 42 minutes?
Well, no, I mean, like I said, you make one of those hypothetical trades. You still got Jay Crowder, Biombo. That's why I think this will drag out another. I think this will drag out another week and a half because.
No, the Nets set the price so high and have an excuse to set the price so high because of the Rudy Gobert bullshit that they are hoping that no one will take him so they can say, like, hey, KD, we tried to get you out of here, but we're going to have to keep you another season. I mean,
they won't do that. He's going to be gone. It's just a matter of when and how much. I don't know. Time will tell. I do think they're going to get, based on the Jazz getting 4 like role players and 4 first-round draft picks for Gobert. Yeah, I mean, I think the Timberwolves way overpaid for Rudy Gobert, but that set the market. Like KD's a much better player than, I mean, Rudy Gobert's great, but KD's way better. KD's KD. He's one of one. He's one of a kind. Yeah, I do think the market is at, 3 to 4 really good role players and 4 to 5 first round picks. And that's why I think the deal still happens with the Suns, because the Suns have all of their picks. Like, they're one of the only teams that can package that many picks together.
Yeah.
And I don't think a deal gets done with like a shit team, because if you're one of those shittier rebuilding teams, like, yeah, it would be great to have KD on a 4-year contract, but you don't want a KD who doesn't want to play for you, because then the same thing might happen in a year or two where he's asking or demanding another trade because he doesn't want to. Like, KD's old enough and he's at the point in his career. He's looking for a championship. That's why he cited Miami and Phoenix as the 2 teams he wants to go to. 2 teams ready to win, 2 good teams with great culture, good coaching. And KD does have a really close personal relationship with Monty Williams, which is important to note. KD considers Monty Williams as like one of his biggest mentors when he first entered the league.
Oh, wow.
So I think KD really wants to, play for Phoenix. I think that's where he wants to go. Obviously he's got no say in it, as Brooklyn's got, Brooklyn's holding all the cards, not KD, but, we'll see. Time will tell. I do think this will drag on for another week or 2 before we finally figure out. And then we'll also keep an eye on what happens with James Harden and free agency.
He's just going to re-sign with a better deal. They're just working out the numbers. He isn't leaving Philly.
I think he is. I think he's going to some shit team just to put butts in seats and sell tickets.
Fair enough, Noah. Well, with that being said, do you have anything else to say to the Degens before we sign off on the last show before our 1-year anniversary, Noah?
Hey, definitely fucking tune in tomorrow. We're gonna do 1 hour live. There's no limit on what we might talk about, what we might do, the amount of drinks we might drink. It's gonna be a fucking fun time.
Oh, it's gonna be
so
good.
Do yourself a fucking favor, tune in. We're gonna be celebrating 1 year since we started this. And appreciate every last one of you who tunes in and listens, even if, whether it's once, whether it's regularly, we appreciate all of you. Yeah, come have some fun with us. Like I said, we'll be live. Throw any fucking question you want in the chat, so long as it's, not going to get us kicked off of YouTube, and and we'll answer it.
Hell yeah, bro. As long as it doesn't get kicked off YouTube. I love that motto. Unluckily, Matt cannot join us tomorrow, so we don't really need to get worried about getting kicked off YouTube. We do have some special guests that will be joining us tomorrow throughout the stream. Just some guests from the past that have, helped us become the show that we are. And again, we do want to thank every single one of you out there. And if you are listening and you're not subscribed, what the hell are you doing, bro? Like, share, subscribe down the below. It helps us fight the YouTube algorithm. It keeps Noah and I going so that hopefully one day we can get paid to do this shit and not work our day jobs, because we hate our day jobs. I'm joking if an employer is listening. With that being said, I've been the Brofict one, AJ, and that's been Noah Engelbretson. We'll see you tomorrow for the 1 year anniversary show. And this